First and foremost, in order to be successful for both sides, it needs to be a fair and open, transparent, competitive process. We need a well-established, well-financed private sector that can take the deal through the procurement and through the concession. The public sector needs to run a fair process that's open, that's collaborative, that's transparent, and I think for the long term, in order to establish a good program, that's fundamental. The other things go without saying. It does need to deliver value for taxpayers, and it does need to service the public interest. So the value for taxpayer I will dwell a little bit more in. What Canada doesn't do is we don't look to the PPP program as an additional source of funding. You know, structured availability payments is that the direct funding comes from the public sector, from the governments. So the benefits, why does the public sector, why in Canada do we look to the PPP program? There's really, I got a half a dozen highlighted down here. There's only a couple that I'd really like to spend some time on. First, in order for you to get, I believe strongly, in order to get good value for money through the program, is that there needs to be an opportunity for private sector innovation. So we look at a number of projects that come through in the government for British Columbia. We do about $6 or $7 billion in infrastructure a year, and only about 20% of that actually goes through and becomes a PPP. So really the characteristics that we're looking for is the project complex enough? Is there an opportunity for innovation either through the design and construction period or through the operations period in order for the private sector to actually be able to deliver value and do something different that the public sector can't do? What we see happening in new jurisdictions or with new clients that we're working with is the propensity to actually want to start too quickly. The politicians have made an announcement that they're going to build a building, and they actually expect that the next day that they're going to start construction, and they forget that usually there's a couple years that go on in putting together a good program before you go out to market. And actually it takes a great deal of discipline to actually hold back and do the planning up front. I can say the projects that have taken that time usually are much betterly delivered. They come together quicker. The end time is usually quicker, and when they're actually into construction, it just takes a discipline to hold off. Different sectors, it's certainly in British Columbia, and I think that's true in other jurisdictions too, is that as the PPP program becomes more established, more accepted, as the track record has demonstrated better, that there's a desire to look at new asset classes. So health and transportation tend to be the bread and butter, the foundations of the PPP program, but it's growing. There's a lot more in the education sector, in the accommodation sector and resource sector. There's, I think, great opportunities for the PPP program. We're doing energy deals now in wastewater and water and corrections and social housing. So there is certainly an opportunity to grow the program. So finally, just to wrap up, Partnerships BC has been around for 10 years. There's certainly a number of lessons that have been hard-earned and hard-learned. Kind of left you with 6, and I had another kind of hidden one at the end. First, I've already mentioned political will is fundamental. Without it, I don't think you'll have a good ability to extend a long-term PPP program. The second is the appropriate balance between public and private sector expertise. The private sector is very mobile and will really go where a program is well set up and there's a good deal to be done. So they'll come with the experience. On the public side, it's a bit different. It's less mobile, and it really needs to be grown internally. There's a lot of good advisors out there that we've taken advantage of, and I think in order to do good deals, the public sector needs to meet the private sector with that same level of expertise. The PPP program is really only one tool in the toolkit. There's lots of other good delivery methods. Good consistency across the jurisdictions and across the asset classes in terms of documentation. Communications with the public in terms of the benefits of the PPP program is fundamental so that you keep the public alongside. There is detractors and there is people that criticize the program. And so effective and continual communication, sharing the benefits of what you're experiencing is necessary. And finally, back to the timing and taking the discipline up front to do the planning. I think it's key to having a good program. All right, thank you very much.